How do you manage storage as a content creator? This is a 2 terabyte SSD. I can plug it into my computer. Boom, it's 2 terabytes right there. Your computer itself might have 512 gigs or even a whole terabyte or even a few terabytes on your laptop or desktop computer. That's great. But maybe you're a gamer like me, games take up a lot of space. Then you have to compete from space for videos and your gaming. So how do you measure up then or scale up your amount of storage? You can buy more SSDs, sure, but then you end up having like 5 SSDs. You have to start marking them, seeing which one's which. Then you have to keep track of that. That's not really ideal. I have a 5 terabyte backup drive around the corner, and guess what? It's almost full. Don't know how, because it's not like I have that many videos, but I have thousands of TikToks. I have a couple hundred interviews. Each of them have the raw files and the finished file. So that's at least 9 gigs per interview at that point. And then like 6 to 9 at least, depending on when it was recorded, because some of them were recorded on Zoom, so at least then it's low quality, but that's not good either. And you do want to increase the quality of your video, speaking of which, as well. I record pretty much everything in 1080p. This is a 4K camera, and yet I'm recording in 1080p because I do not want to have the storage of 4K videos on my computer right now. Ironically, I am exporting the vertical file of interviews from Riverside in 4K because then when I toss it into Opus, it is a higher quality output. So I do have the vertical and horizontal. So now I'm doing 2 different renders of the files. And then on top of that, I'll generally re-render the horizontal one when I edit it in DaVinci Resolve. So I have 2 different raw ones, not just one raw file. And I often download the individual person speaking too, so my camera and the guest camera. So I have another couple video files. You want to have that backup just in case you ever need to repost the videos and something happens to your channel, or you want to repurpose them later down the line. I'm glad I had all of my videos on my computer because it's way higher quality than just tossing the YouTube videos into Opus. And even then, not all of them were very high quality in the first place. So having any kind of compression from YouTube was really not a good idea. And that's not Opus's fault. That's any repurposing, even on the computer. If you're trying to repurpose even in DaVinci Resolve, cropping or zooming in is going to lose degradation of quality. So it's going to increase the degradation of quality. How do you store all this stuff? Well, you don't want to put everything in the cloud either because cloud storage is kind of expensive and you have to have a good enough internet speed to actually upload everything. And a lot of people are just taking their phone and recording off of there and then plugging it into computer. That's not good either because then you have to fill up your phone storage. And on top of that, it tries to sync things with like Google Photos. And then you have a whole bunch of files in your cloud again that you can tell it not to sync and it's still going to do it anyways because Google is really terrible about that. And I know Apple is too. So what is the solution, right? I'm telling you all these problems, but what is the solution? Well, get a bigger backup drive. That's for one thing. And the other thing is get a NAS, right? And network attached storage. NAS is the little mini computer that you can have across the room or next to your computer that you can plug in through Ethernet to your computer, and then you can have access to an external device to dump everything onto. You don't necessarily need to get that right away. Start off with a backup drive. That's what I did. I had a backup drive, then I got my 5 terabyte one, and that's been great. And the 5 terabyte one's kind of slow, but it's more just for backup. I'm not working off of it. This is fast enough you can work off of, but if you're not trying to actively move between different devices, you really don't need to work off an SSD. And I just record directly on the computer, so I can just work off of that. But then when I'm ready to put it out somewhere else, that is what I mean. Like I need to have it on some sort of drive. And now we have to talk about backups. I made a video about this actually on my PolyInnovator channel. How do you back up your content? Well, YouTube is not a backup. Don't say that. Forget about it. YouTube is not a backup. I hate it when people say that. It grinds my gears. It's not a good backup. And YouTube can just delete your channel at any time, and it's compressing everything. It's not a good backup. The only real backup is like Google Drive, Apple Drive, OneDrive, OneDrive or Dropbox. So having a cloud storage solution is a backup. But I pay $20 a year for the 100 gigabytes on Google. That's great, and that's helpful for when I'm transferring files between people and stuff like that. And it's helpful because I have a lot of stuff on my Google Drive and my emails and stuff like that. That's great. I'm not going to pay for the terabyte. $200 a year, I'm not going to do that, whatever the price is. It's not worth it, especially since I have terabytes of videos. It's not going to help me. And I know that Linus Tech Tips also made a great video about this. If I can find it, I'll try to link it down below. But otherwise, it's like you have to think about redundancy. I have a backup drive over there. I'm probably going to put some of the most important stuff on a drive like this and keep it at a separate location. My parents' house, my grandma's house, or maybe my uncle's house, just so you can have If your place burns down, you want to make sure you have a backup of your stuff. On top of that, you just never know what's going to happen. And if you lose access to your drives, or if you have too much content, like, this is getting kind of scary, because like you just don't realize how sensitive your data is. Was it last December? Yeah, like last December, my computer bricked. Windows Update just bricked my computer. Would not work anymore. And I had to go through hell and back. That's why I bought this actually at one point, to be able to like access my drives. Actually, I think I bought this. I only had one M.2 drive at the time, which was in my computer. But I bought this in case I needed to have a reason to ever take it out and plug it into another computer. And guess what? I did. I took it out of that computer, plugged it into another one. That's how I was able to save my data eventually. And that's crazy, right? It was just a Windows update that bricked my computer. I know Mac OS is just as capable of this happening to them too. But it's one of those things where I almost lost my entire Obsidian vault and recent videos. At least everything was backed up for the most part, but I hadn't backed up in about a month and a half. And so I had a decent amount of videos and changes to my Obsidian vault that needed to be recorded and saved. And so I managed to scrape everything off of there using a drive like this. But it was scary that I had to deal with that in the first place, and it just randomly happened. So issues with the computer. At one point, my computer in 2016, 2017, the AIO water cooler leaked onto the motherboard and graphics card, killing the motherboard. Or killing the graphics card, almost killing the motherboard. Meaning that computer was dead. I could have easily lost all my data too if the liquid coolant got on the SSD. I mean, it might have not have fried it. It might have. The chance was there. And so luckily, I think at that time, I had a regular SSD that was plugged away from the motherboard. So it was fine. But that is a scary occurrence, and random things like that can happen. Or random fire. Austin Evans, who's a big tech YouTuber, his apartment, I think, got caught on fire. He lost a lot of his stuff. This has happened to many YouTubers, especially in California where there's wildfires too. You just need to think about backups. And so storage, having backup storage, and then in some cases having cloud storage, and making sure you're organizing your content very well in an information architecture way so you can keep track of everything and make sure you're regularly updating your backups.